to be chairing and moderating this panel, which we are going to be starting shortly once I get a cue from the technical team. We good? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, so I would like to introduce our chair for the panel, who will take the stage and call the panelists. So Alex Yengi, please take the stage. Alex is my colleague at Google. He is in the emerging markets public affairs team. A clap for Alex, as he is the last. He's the one who is going to make sure that we'll have a nice, powerful panel before we go for our lunch. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you so much, Michael. And thank you to the audience for staying put. I can see, we like to say 99.9% cloud. Yeah, we guarantee 99% cloud uptime. So I think I can almost guarantee 99.9% of the eyes are open. I'm only seeing a few people who are asleep. So I think we have a sufficient audience. But anyway, it's really a pleasure to be here, I think, for me, because the session you're going to have really represents the people we have been talking about all day. When you think about policy, when you think about technology, and even more importantly now academia, with the skills and really the convening capability, the reason why we are doing this is to enable technology to actually create opportunity. And what we want to do now is really to hear from practitioners in terms of people who've been able to see the opportunity. Some of these, I see them as visionaries because they're seeing things the rest of us are not seeing. Yeah? When they talk to us about the things you are thinking, Allah, sorry, I'm forgetting, I'm talking to an African audience. I'm using some African, Kenyan expression. Yeah, we are thinking, that idea is so simple. Why didn't I think about it? Yeah? So the whole idea is that how they're harnessing technology and creating opportunities for themselves, and not just for themselves, they're creating opportunities for others. And they're being front runners and really showing us what can these platforms at the likes of Google put across can actually become. Because sometimes I think about it as much as I work in a technology company. When you put across some of these technologies, some of the amazing innovations that we see coming from some of our entrepreneurs and our young people are not even what the company thought about the technology. Yeah? So we are creating a platform, and then now there are people who are seeing an amazing way. I realize that we probably the last session for the day, and it's always a tough act to come in terms of in the afternoon, probably everybody's thinking about the lunch, and we need to call it a day. I know some people just arrived this morning, so it's been a long night and a long day for you, and thank you for really for bearing with us. Initially, I wanted to say we are saving the best for last, but I think that's a little bit cliche. When it rained, yeah, I thought that that's a good sign. Okay, it rained during the cloud session, but for me, what it symbolized for me is that I think in a lot of African societies, when it rains during an event, yeah, I don't know what it is for you, but it makes it extra special because there is the blessings that comes with the rain. It brings cleansing, it brings unity, it's sort of like a new day, and it sort of symbolizes fertility as well. And I think for Kenya and a lot of African countries, earlier on, I think it's a EU commissioner who said, we as Africa, we're still very rain-fed. And it's a blessing in a way, yeah? We need to adopt a bit better technology around that, but it's a blessing. I know for Kenya, we've been struggling for the last 4+ years with poor rains, so we've really had a hard time, and whenever it rains, we are happy. But the last thing is that an ironical thing, I don't know if that happens the same thing in your city, is that when it rains in Nairobi, the roads shrink. I don't know if that's a dynamic that happens in your country. Traffic increases. So what I'm simply saying is that don't be in a rush for us to finish our session, yeah? Be patient. Even if you go, you're going to traffic, yeah? So just sit and relax, enjoy. We'll take our time, yeah? I think we'll just mute the MC's mic and you will tell us time is up, and we'll continue talking. But anyway, to the people for the day. And the last thing is that I don't know how many of you, how many time zones are in Africa? Sorry, I was a teacher at one point for a very short time. but it's a habit that sticks on. To ask questions, how many time zones do you have in Africa? And don't jump into your favorite search engine. Michael, yeah, I'm seeing you. 4, somebody said 4. How many time zones? 4, going once, twice, 5. There's actually 6 time zones. I was surprised as well. We go from +4, somewhere in the Indian Ocean, somewhere. It's still Africa. Even the water is still part of Africa, yeah? And then you go to the other extreme side, Cape Verde and the likes, you go to -1, yeah? So just feel free to choose a time zone of your preference, whether you feel like you want this to be morning hours, afternoon or evening, whatever time is best for you, yeah? Just take it, that's the time you are at. That's why you say in Africa, you are never late, yeah? As long as in Africa, just choose a time zone. If you came in 2 hours late, I'm in GMT -1. So you're all good. All of us are here in good time. All right. That was on a light note. So I'd like to invite 3 amazing individuals who will be coming to share on their journeys and share the journeys of their organizations as well. So really, it's for us to see how they're Africans and how are they leveraging on technology, yeah? Some of them have been part of Google programs, and the other one is leveraging on a Google platform called YouTube. So really, it's more for us to hear how do they get there, yeah? What is the vision they see about technology? What are the opportunities? These are the visionaries. These are people who are seeing probably things that most of us are not seeing. So I'll call you on one by one, and can come in from that side. So I'll start with Balkis. Welcome, Balkis. Balkis Chepkwony. There's a chance that if you took, sometimes we say maybe Uber, Bolt, Little, and the rest. You might have been using her car. She'll tell us more later. So Balkis is a CEO and co-founder of Fleet Simple, a platform that monetizes vehicles in the ride-hailing market. She's passionate about advancing the sustainable share mobility in Africa. Welcome, Balkis. Next on is Bramwell. Welcome, Bramwell. So Bramwell Kipkoskei. He has over 10 years experience as a civil level sales and marketing professional, possesses extensive knowledge in a variety of disciplines such as real estate, marketing, communications, advertising, and public relations. He's in charge of planning, directing, and coordinating marketing strategies. He possesses a degree in English and linguistics from Egerton University, digital marketing fundamentals from Indian Institute of Digital Education, and diploma in business management. Thank you, Bramwell. And over to Lynn. Karibu. So we'll just use the summarized version, yeah, of her introduction, yeah, if you allow us. So Lynn is a celebrated digital media personality with a specialty in impact journalism, human interest stories, and a social affairs activist who is undeniably one of Kenya's active content creators. Okay, I'm not done. She's also break to catch my breath. She is also a recipient of BBC 100 Influential Women Global in 2021, Humanitarian Award recipient Cannes 2020, Best Digital Content Creator Women in Film Awards 2022, iChange Nations Community Ambassador Award 2022, BEFTA International Media Personality Award 2023, Gender Champion Award 2023. Her desire is to see us become active participants and create a solution-based community while impacting one life at a time. Thank you, Lynn. So what we'll have for this session, we run it in about 3 parts. So the first part, I'll invite each of our panelists to come and share a remark. Some of them will use a presentation, others will talk to us passionately, and then after that, I'll interact with them briefly and then open it up to the audience. When I open up the audience, you feel free to ask as many questions you want. We have time. Yeah. So anyway, so we can put up the slide for Balkis. Yeah. Welcome, Balkis. Karibu.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. It's an honor to be here as we ponder on the progress that we've made and the potential for the innovation to actually transform Africa. So as you've heard, my name is Balkis. I'm co-founder and CEO at Fleet Simplify. I would like to tell you more about what we do. So I know a number of you already took ride-hailing services to bring you to this place today, and that includes me actually. And so allow me to take you into the behind the scenes of your trip here. And that is actually the problem that we're solving today. Can I have the next slide, please?
Come.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So in Africa, you find that gig drivers cannot afford to own vehicles to drive on the ride-sharing platforms. So how do they get access to these vehicles? They rent these vehicles from the middle-income earners who have the finances to buy these vehicles and are actively looking for opportunities to earn an extra revenue outside of their day jobs. To the next slide. However, you find that the middle-income earners struggle to manage their businesses. They do not know how to procure the ideal vehicles to monetize on these platforms. They also struggle with managing the drivers and the vehicles as they're already engaged in full-time jobs. So you can see in the image there, you can see in the previous image that some of these vehicle owners are actually bankers, doctors, accountants, and they have to rent out this vehicle to the Uber drivers, the Bolt drivers, and any other gig driver. On to the next slide. So to solve this problem, we have built a driver vehicle marketplace and augmented it with a robust fleet management software. To the next slide. Thank you. To solve this problem, we've built a driver vehicle marketplace, augmented it with a robust fleet management software. So through our solution, drivers are able to get instant access to good quality, affordable rental vehicles that they can drive on the ride-hailing platforms and earn a decent income. On the other hand, the vehicle owner is able to make good and sustainable revenues from their vehicle, hence giving them a good return on their investment, while their vehicles are kept in good condition. To the next slide. So you can see some of the apps that we have. We have 2 mobile apps, and we also have web solutions. So here you can see we have a driver's app where the driver is able to create his profile. He gets screened on the platform, and then he's matched to a vehicle that is listed on the platform. He's also able to process the rental fees for the vehicle in-app. So the other side, you can see the vehicle owner's app, where the vehicle owner is able to monitor the business performance of his vehicle in real time. So this includes monitoring vehicle earnings, the geolocation of the vehicle maintenance records, amongst others. So how does our solution create impact for both our users and our cities? Our impact is threefold. So one is we create decent work for our drivers. So we give them access to affordable rental vehicles, we create favorable work conditions, and in the near future, we are looking to plug in embedded finance to enable our drivers to leverage their driving performance to actually access financial services. And to the vehicle owners, we are creating wealth. We are creating wealth for them by ensuring that they get good, steady revenues, hence a good return on their investment. And through our robust maintenance program, we ensure that we lower the cost of maintenance for these vehicles and extend the lifespan of the vehicles. And in the third area, we are fostering sustainable cities. And how do we do that? We increase utilization of vehicles already in the market. So as opposed to each and every one of you driving across the city, a shared vehicle moves on average 15 people every day across the city. That reduces traffic that Alex was talking about. So don't worry about traffic. You can always just hail a ride. And it also reduces the carbon emissions in the cities. In addition to that, in the near future, we are looking to roll out electric fleet rentals, and this is going to significantly cut on the carbon emissions on the continent. So our vision is to accelerate adoption of sustainable shared mobility solutions on the continent. And at this point, I would like to ask each of you, middle-income earners, next time you're thinking of where should I put in this money? I have $5,000. Where can I invest in this money? Should I go to the real estate, treasury bills? Consider investing in a vehicle that moves your city. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe just one quick question from me before you step down, and that's amazing. So I think we all have a chance. Side hustle, see Balkis after this. Just a question. I was wondering about the numbers. Maybe like how many, from when you started the business, you can tell us, maybe you started this time, about how many drivers do you have, how many vehicles, the cities maybe you're covering, or even your plans to expand, just to give us a snippet.
Thank you for that question. So since we started operations, we've monetized more than 500 vehicles, and we've worked with more than 2,500 drivers. Currently, we're based in Nairobi, but the market opportunity is huge. And if you look at our continent, more than 70% of drivers are actually renting these vehicles, gig drivers. So there's a huge opportunity to actually digitize and structure this market, which is the market that we're going after. So we're actually looking to scale our solution through the support of Google and Google services to scale our solution across the continent.
Thank you so much. Asante sana. Thank you, Balkis. It's really interesting. I didn't know about that particular concept. Yeah, it's really amazing to know that people are able to see opportunities. Because I know a lot of times that people who've come up complaining about the ride-hailing cabs companies, but then you can actually see some innovators who are really finding a creative way, creating employment. She's created jobs for 2,500 people, one person. Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, and growing. So I'd like to invite Bramwell. Welcome, Bramwell. I think he also has a presentation and a video, but he's going to cue in when he's ready.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bramwell Kipkoskei, and I'm a co-founder and for a company called SILQU. It's a Kenyan-based startup. It's a personal story, and allow me to share that with you. So about 2 years ago, my business partner, who is in this room, you'll get to meet him later, we're looking to move into our next rental apartments. And I think every one of you has rented a unit at some point in their life, right? So, of course, like the normal processes, we moved in. We were paying our rent for the next 1 year to a managing agent. But unfortunately, one day, he had a knock at the door, and let's call this landlord Mr. X. And Mr. X had never received a single cent as rent for the whole year. And he was wondering, okay, you guys have been living here for 1 year. So we took that very passionately, and hence we came up with an innovation, first of its kind, and Africa's most advanced cloud-based platform, and we're now soon integrating AI into it, called SILQU. And without further ado, I would like to request the media team to kindly play the video so that you get to understand what SILQU is all about, and of course I'll get to introduce you to much more of what we do. Kindly.
Are you a landlord looking to automate your property management needs? SILQU is an all-in-one cloud-based property management solution that helps you effortlessly manage your rental finances, tasks, and tenant responsibilities all in your smartphone. SILQU provides a mobile app that makes it easy for landlords and property managers with 1 to 100,000 units to collect rent payments and manage tenants right from their phones. Our intelligent dashboards give you the rental insights you need, whenever you need them. Forget the stress of constantly checking your bank account, because you'll receive notifications whenever the status of a payment changes. Access all the system features you need from the dashboard. View your monthly reports by a click of a button. Easily track your rental income and expenditure, and use a reporting suite to analyze your property business from property account balances, accrued debts, wallet balances, and so much more. View each property's summary on percentage collections, total billed and total collected. View detailed analytics on revenue reports, financial reports, tenancy reports, and property reports. The automated rent collection solution enables landlords to swiftly manage rental income with expedited rent payment processing in real time. Landlords can track their rental property income and expenses to streamline the accounting process. Rent and maintenance charges are automatically uploaded to their accounting dashboard. See how much money flows in and out. The system allows you to do everything from adding a new property, adding a unit, adding a tenant, adding an expense, and all basic features all in a click of a button. SILQU runs on a powerful inbuilt accounting engine that was designed specifically to manage property finances that allows you to bill your tenants individually or all at once. View all your tenants' occupancy details, pending arrears, invoices, statements, vacate notices, and communication on concerns or inquiries directly from your smartphone. Keep track of vacant and occupied units on the go. Watch a unit status change in real time as a new tenant is successfully onboarded. All rent payments are tracked, and the platform will compare deposits to your bank statements to ensure everything adds up correctly and accurately. We grow with you, and our system works for any kind of landlord, whether you have just a handful of tenants or thousands. We got you. Why pay when you can sign up for free? Get started today.
Thank you very much. So that is our humble innovation, and the brains behind what you're looking at here is actually in this building. So allow me to extend one more second to just acknowledge the presence. We have our head of AI and also a software engineer. It's a very young team, so kindly, Terence Olume, just stand up and wave. We also have another software engineer, the brains behind the mobile app that you've just seen here. And remember, these are cloud-based systems, so you can access it anywhere in the world. So Brian Gige. And we also have our head of graphic and design, the guy behind the content, the visuals and all that, Alan Wanambisi. And last but not least, we have one of the brilliant brains that we have actually in the country. His name is Ronald. He's actually the CEO. So kindly just stand up for 2 seconds and maybe just come say one word to this beautiful audience. So ladies and gentlemen, Ronald, the CEO.
All protocols observed. Good afternoon. My name is Ronald Mutuku, tech guy for the last 15 years, and I'm happy to be here at the Google event because I love technology and I love automation. And it's a good thing and it's a bad thing at the same time. I know you know the advantages and disadvantages, and we are here to make life easy and to make operations seamless. So we are driving automation across Africa with my co-founder here, Bramwell, who's been in the real estate. Thank you so much.
All right, and just to answer, so SILQU is currently, we are 1 year old, and we have a little over 10,000 users, and we've just launched in South Africa, and we are soon going to Nigeria, and we're in East Africa. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Bramwell. Maybe before you sit, just a quick question. Now that you've answered my question before I asked it, I have another question for you. Yes. So I was pretty curious when I was introducing you just to understand about your background, because most of the time for startups, you always perceive the people in startups, they're the techies, the Ronalds and the rest of the team. Just to understand how you're able to build a team, and maybe what's the kind of role that diversity brings, and how do we enrich and enhance it more to show somebody who probably seems to be studying a course that sounds off technology, linguistics and language, and now you are co-founder of SILQU, a techie. Is it a techie or not?
Yeah, yes. I mean, I think you heard that my background is in English and linguistics, and I am not a techie. But what happened was I come with about 8 to 9 years of experience in real estate, specifically for the housing sector, and this is also just a little bit about commercial and residential buildings. And of course, you know, part of my day-to-day activity was to sell units or houses to my clientele, but it only stops at that, where now they've bought the unit and it's bye-bye everyone. But now it presents another headache altogether. They've bought the unit for rental or for commercial purposes, and they want to enjoy the passive income that comes in forms of rent. But I do not have a solution to them. But unfortunately, the current existing solutions, which is, you know, the likes of the agents and property managers, are exposing these people who are property owners to fraud. They give them opaque reporting. There's no accountability. And that's how my landlord, Mr. X, ended up losing hundreds of thousands. So I vowed that was going to be the last landlord to actually lose money. What drives us is the fact that, number one, we are preventing fraud. Our system is completely fraud-proof, 100%. So it's already connected to all the banks in Kenya, and we're soon doing that to scale globally. And of course, Ronald here has been my very good friend for the last 7 around 7 years as well, and he's coming in with his IT background. So that's how the team was formed, and we are currently about 12 competent young people that are super talented to drive this innovation globally. So we actually voted also Africa's, I think, most top 10 prop tech startups, and that's how SILQU is here.
Thank you so much. Can have a seat. Thank you, Bramwell. It's good to see how the diversity when it comes to tech, it's not just about the innovation, but it's about really harnessing the ideas and the capabilities that each of us can actually bring into a team. So you might have the idea, yeah? Build a team, identify techies. Sometimes the tech is a bit shy of the capabilities, but that's your role now to sort of pull it out of the runners and the other geniuses we have. So thank you. I'd like to invite Lynn. And for Lynn, I believe she wants to tell us a story. Yeah, she doesn't want to use slides. Yeah, slides are too.
Oh, yes, stop it.
Yeah, sorry.
Hi, good afternoon. How is everyone? Okay, my name is Lynn Ngugi. I'm the CEO, Lynn Ngugi Network. Lynn Ngugi Network, or LNN, as you can see up there, it's a digital media platform that highly specializes in human interest stories. I have an amazing team. I don't come alone. I work with incredible people, and I'm privileged today to be with my business partner, who is also the director of our company. So maybe he can say a quick hi or wave, and then I can be able to continue with the rest of my presentation. Joshua J. Karanja. Yeah, so I guess it's a struggle between tech people and content creators. You can tell we are loud. We are about to say like hi from up there. So nice to meet you, Balkis, Bramwell. Alex, thank you so much. When I saw my tag, a YouTuber, I felt really happy because it comes at a time when I'm really proud to be a YouTuber. At an age where many people would actually have thought that digital, like content creation, might not be a full-time job. Now I feel happy being called a journalist, a YouTuber. Now I'm even struggling. Should I be a YouTuber, a journalist? But it's a very beautiful blend of both. Our company, Lynn Ngugi Network, is only 1.5 years old, and we have over 630K subscribers. It's a platform that has been created from scratch. Organic audience, people who subscribe because they believe in your vision. And I'm really passionate about human interest stories and the art of storytelling that makes people believe that, yeah, people are going through so many things, but there's hope at the end of the tunnel. So I try to bring really successful stories, but some people would also say painful stories, because I don't believe there can be a testimony without a test. So it's very important for us to be able to show people the truth before we tell people about the win. So always advocate for us to be able to show people the real story. This is where people started, and this is where we are right now. And I'm really happy for platforms such as Google. You know, for a YouTuber, I struggled at the beginning. I was like, you want to be a YouTuber and another professional job. So Google for me, you know, YouTube for me was always maybe a plan EFG, because we always thought you had to have a plan A. I always thought there had to be something before a YouTuber. And the more I realized that these platforms are there to support you. This is not an ad for Google. I know, Alex, this is not an ad. You did not ask me to do this. But to be able to exist in times where you can actually work, and there's a platform that cares about you, and they are not all about using you and things like that. For me, that's a beautiful time to be alive. So thank you so much. And if you're here and you've not checked our work, please do check it out, Lynn Ngugi Network or LNN, and let's continue impacting society one story at a time. If you are to ask why I started, the simple answer would be because I felt there was a need for us to tell an authentic story. And I see people say, Lynn, sometimes your stories are 2 hours, 47 minutes, and I'm like, how do you guys, and you see people have watched to the maximum, and they're actually commenting about something that is towards the end of the story, and I'm like, how are people watching content that is 2 hours, 47 minutes? I choose to see the positive aspect of it and see that people want the truth in a story and not just the short version of a story. So thank you so much for your incredible support, and Google, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure to meet my incredible people, Bramwell. As Bramwell and Balkis are talking here, in my mind I'm like, how do I tell their stories now? How do I bring their stories to our platform? So thank you, and it's an honor to be here.
Thank you, Lynn. You tell your story in a very modest way, but I think it's really amazing. And I've had a chance to listen to some of your stories. It's true. For many of us, you started being curated to a point whereby we are thinking, how can this be 3 minutes? How can it be 4 minutes? But it's amazing when you take some time to listen through, because you're really listening about real stories people go through. What I was curious about is that you've been in mainstream media. As you said, you're a journalist. Just wanted to understand how, I don't know how to call it, I don't really want to call it a transition, because probably it's not an either or. But in terms of, for you, in terms of a desire to tell stories as a journalist, how do you find that platforms such as YouTube enhance that for you? What are the kind of opportunities you're seeing that doing, maybe traditional mainstream media might not have been able to capture as well?
Personally, I've never practiced in mainstream media. I seeked a lot of opportunities in mainstream media, but I was not lucky. So I just joined in full-time as a digital journalist. But for me, the most important aspect of it is freedom. The freedom that comes with a platform that does not dictate. You just need to know, am I doing the right thing or the wrong thing? And for me, that kind of freedom, and also to be able to relate with people even outside your own country. We have audience from Namibia, South Africa, and they relate with the content. So it's easy for me even right now to go to South Africa and do stories because there is a common denominator. So the freedom, the flexibility that comes with it, that's what I really appreciate. And the money too, so.
Yes, that's why you're here. Yeah, you're here to make some money. And thank you. I'll actually tweak it a bit. I want to pass it to the audience before I have an interaction with them. So in case you have any burning questions you want to raise, we can pick a few questions from the audience. So we heard from Balkis, you talked about you can actually make some money. You have $5,000, give it to her, she'll make some money for you, yeah? You have challenges with your rentals. I know there's quite a few people here who have some rentals and the tenants are giving you headaches, yeah? So that's the it is, and we have Lynn here. Really look into our channel, yeah? I don't know, there's an interesting feature I like on YouTube where I can actually download on my YouTube app, I can download the video. So maybe when I'm in traffic, when traveling, you can actually listen to it without eating your bundles. So questions? Yes, I have one right behind you. Right behind you.
Maybe Balkis, you'll also tell us whether Mr. X asked you to pay for the rent that he hadn't received.
Yeah, and it's also, this is directed to you, Bramwell. You know, there's something I know about us in this part of the world.
Yes, sir.
Can you give us, in a lump sum, the amount of money that has passed through those accounts? You know, you can estimate, is it 100, 10 million, 1 billion? Give us a figure that will motivate us to know the kind of industry you are in. Thank you.
Very Kiare.
No, I'm not Kiare. No relationship.
Okay, well, just hold on. Let's see if there's another one or two questions. There's a question right here. There's a gentleman behind the camera.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for very fascinating presentations. I'm completely out. But to Lynn, I was just wondering, what kind of contractual relations do you make with the people whose stories you freely air? Because they might get...
Sorry?
What kind of contracts or contractual relations do you have with the people whose stories you are freely airing.
One, I can take here the front. You can take this.
I think mine is first just to congratulate the three of you. I've been judging events around this area for years, and it's always so refreshing. And especially for young people. We were just talking with Mike and saying, oh, I wish PLO and the rest were still here to hear these real life stories. So mine is not even so much a question. Of course, yours for the $5,000. And to just know at what point I make my profit, if I put it today. Just how that works. But for Lynn, I think one of the things that I sometimes have listened to you, but they just pop out. I think you're so unconventional, and I think that's what also makes it unique. But you sometimes feel like you start becoming like a therapist, or I've had people have found their way and their healing through just talking to you. I don't know if I'm right, but I just wanted to share that. And for somebody as young as you, you're doing something amazing, all of you. Thank you.
Okay, I noted there's one more question. So as the mic moves through the back, oh, there's a mic. Let him ask, and then we can. Okay, I've noted. I'll park your questions for a bit.
All right, thank you very much for visiting us today. In the room, as you observe, we have a lot of young people. And then in the morning, we are also challenged about the innovations that are coming from this region. Considering that most of your companies, I think even all of you, have very young companies within the industry. I just want to understand how you got that idea from your bedroom now to everyone.
Okay, thank you. So we'll take on the 4 questions. I think the first one is to you, Bramwell, but we can mix and match. Feel free to respond to any question. There's the one, I think he's curious about the ballpark figures. There's the one about the kind of agreements, Lynn, you have with the people to air your stories. Hazel strongly a comment. She said she has $5,000. Yeah, and there's one other question at the back as well in terms of how did you get here, from your garage or your bedroom, as he said. Bramwell?
All right, sir. You're asking how much has actually passed through the profile, through the platform. Well, allow me to just say, I think from the time we started, which is a little of an year for operations, looking at maybe 30, 40 million, roughly, yeah, USD. No, Kenyan shillings.
Okay, thank you. Maybe to Lynn, there's a question from the gentleman here.
Yes, thank you so much. I think for any trained journalist, then we all understand the importance of a release form. So our stories, you don't pay. You tell your story freely. But we always have to make sure that there is a release form, which means that you also understand why you are telling your story, where will it be aired. So we always believe in the importance of one. I'm not sure if I've answered you satisfactorily. Okay. To her, maybe if I could just, yeah, thank you so much. Yes, I think my work has challenged me a great deal to undertake psychology, because I now understand that these are real life stories. This is not a joke. This is someone pouring your heart to you. But I think I've always been told naturally I come across as a therapist, but I also know the importance of not offering professional services if you are not a professional. So for me, the challenge has been posed to undertake that as a course, something I'm looking really forward to. And I just think it's great when people can find comfort in opening their hearts, but also the growth that comes with understanding you can't give those advices if you are not a professional. So to avoid misleading, to avoid telling people something that might work at the moment and not work in the future, I highly think, just psychology for me is a value add in the field. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Maybe for Balkis, you can share. The gentleman at the back was really curious about how it came from your garage. How did you get here?
Okay, thank you for that question. So as an entrepreneur, problems are all around you. So you shouldn't go out looking for problems. Problems are already looking for you. Yeah, everything, like if you just audit your life, you know, when you're moving from point A to point B, processing a payment or purchasing something that you need for your day-to-day, if you're observant, if you're keen, you'll realize that there are problems almost in every point of your life. And so for me, that is how I realized that something needed to be solved here. So as I talked about middle income earners, I was actually, at that point I was a CFO. My background is actually in finance. I was a CFO in an oil and gas industry, and I was looking to make extra money out of my day job. So I bought this vehicle, and I put it on the ride-hailing platforms, and then that's when things started falling apart. So I don't have time to, you know, do my job because the driver needs, I don't know, he needs to go to the mechanic, or I don't know, there's an accident. And every time, I realized that I was not making the money that I was expected to make. Like when I got into the business, I knew this is what I should be making in a month. So, but every month, the driver came with stories. He'd tell me, oh, you know this and you know that. And there was no visibility, no accountability, and really, what could I do about that? So I realized that it was a similar problem when I went to, you know, the ride-hailing offices, and I met other people who are also monetizing their vehicles. And then that is when it struck me that there's a problem, and nobody is looking into our affairs here. How can I come in and solve this problem? And so that is how you actually get ideas that, you know, you could actually change situations, not just for yourself, whatever problem you encounter, many other people are going through. So problems are all around. Just start being more observant and more keen.
Thank you. And I think one thing in Africa we don't lack is problems, but I think she's saying what we don't lack is opportunities, yeah? So we just need to see them. I'll probably take one last set of questions. The hands are starting to increase.
I think there was one more. There was one pending question. And allow me to just proceed. I didn't get your name? Korea. Yeah, how we started, right? I remember, unfortunately for myself, during the COVID pandemic, I was actually employed in a South African company, and you know, that was a time when government had announced that companies should downsize, I don't know, working from home and all that. I was a realtor. My job was to sell service offices. You do not work from home. You cannot do the virtual thing while selling service offices. I was given a letter by the HR, and this was more or less like a termination letter. So unfortunately, I came back home and I sat in the parking without any, sort of employment. And I think that following weekend, we had lunch with Ronald somewhere in Garden City, and we were like, wait, so what do we do? It's here and it's happening. And he was like, let's start a company. Let's call it nothing. SILQU means nothing, right? Like you can't Google, okay, you can use Google Bard. It will tell a lot of nice stories, but SILQU means nothing. And we got an office at Garden City, and we were literally sitting on the floor. A very nice, big office, and we sat on the floor. And everything from the furniture to the desk is actually DIY. And we started building this company from scratch. Every single day, we went to Kariobangi, get measurements for tables, and we came to assemble. But on the other end, the brand, what you see on Google, SILQU was a multi-million-dollar company, but we didn't allow clients to, first of all, come into the office. And that's how it started. And I think I'm actually humbled to say we are currently maybe just a little over $2 million valuation. It started from the floor.
Okay, so I'll probably take one or two questions that will guide us to close. So I don't know whether to toss a coin. I can pick one here. And I think I only have two hands up. And here.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hlengiwe Shelembe. I'm from the Information Regulator South Africa. And I think it's really encouraging to see young people who are meaningfully participating in the digital economy in the manner in which these young people have just explained to us how they have started up, how they started their small businesses. And I think it could have been encouraging as well to have the speakers that spoke earlier on today, seeing that actually young people are taking space in the digital economy in a much meaningful manner. And also, I think myself as well, I have tried joining or participating in the e-hailing business back in South Africa, but I did pull out due to challenges that I have experienced, similar to what she just explained now. So it's really good that someone was not actually discouraged by the challenges that we encountered. She actually tried to invent solutions in that. But I think over and above what's been discussed or what's been shared by our speakers there, I would just like to know, I come from the information regulator and it's a regulator in South Africa. I would just like to know, because in as much as these are startups, but they are processing data, a lot of data as well that is involved in that process. I would just like to know, how are these startups then ensuring that they are mitigating all the privacy risks that are associated with the data that they are processing that is in their possession as well? Because in as much as they are startups, but they are processing data, and it's quite important that we ensure that there are adequate safeguards in place for privacy to be maintained. Thank you.
Very, very good question. I think that's a fitting question towards our close. It's important, the responsibility that you're taking as well with people's information. One last one there, and I know I'm about to be kicked off the stage. I think I might ask you as an audience to protect me from the MC. You can give both. Just give both.
Thank you. I think I want to congratulate the entrepreneurs in the ICT area. I note probably maybe my energy went down, and there's something I didn't pick from Bramwell. This app, is it going to help with guys, the people who have rented and they are defaulting? I think I didn't get that, whether that would help me to manage that, the defaulters. Then on to Madame on the app, the Frit. Did I understand whether if I have money, these companies help me to trace a good vehicle at the point of buying it, or it's I buy? Then from that point, that is where you help me to manage in terms of getting the driver, and then from there how we manage the resources from that I didn't get. And then for Lynn, the very last comment that you made about psychology, and I see that a lot of you, the stories, the people who come on your platform to pour their stories, some of them are very heartbreaking. And when I'm one of the guys who go there quite often, and I see like the people who are pouring their stories, some of them, they really have are heartbroken, and they're having issues. From that psychology point of view, how do you handle that? Is that you do some referral, because you've already said that you can't cancel from that point because you're not the expert in that area? Do you refer them? Because some of them might pour to the point that they've exposed themselves to a lot of even risk, because some of them, they talk about what something or somebody else did to them, which is very bad, or it could even be criminal. So how do you protect them from the perspective of that they can also be attacked by the guys they are incriminating, and also for their healing? Thank you.
All right, thank you. So very quick one.
Hi, my name is Dana, and I have a question to Lynn on the law of forgetting. I wanted to ask whether in your platform, can someone take down a story after some time if they feel like the story has served its purpose, or a period has passed and they do not want the story to be heard anymore? Or do your agreements have such a clause? Then to Bramwell, I wanted to ask, does your app identify as an agency collection center? Like in this, the financial bill that suggests that the tax will be remitted from the agents immediately to the government. Now, how do you identify as an agency, or what will be the way forward in regard to the financial bill?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to use this as your closing remarks. So what I have in mind, okay, I can see Bramwell, you're ready. So what I have in mind is that you can talk to and address a little bit about your business model, just to cover a little bit on the business model. I think that's some part of all the questions that's coming in, and also how do you manage the information? How do you ensure you're using the people's information as it's intended for? Maybe the last one as well would be the laws and regulations that are put in place. How are they enabling or curtailing your business? Yes, welcome, Bram.
All right.
1.5 minutes.
Thank you for the questions. Allow me to recap so that I understand. There is the debt portfolio. If the app captures the reports, the answer is yes. You'll get a detailed and very comprehensive debt report. And it goes way back to as long as you want, with specifics on the individual tenants, what has been invoiced, what has not been paid, and also what is the feedback that the tenant gets. Should you want us to escalate that, we've already plugged in debt collectors, so it's very easy to download and forward that to debt collectors. But it gives you, on a summary monthly report, you'll get how much was collected, percentage collections, what are your debts looking like. It's highly detailed, and I'd love to, of course, take you through the demo if you allow me to. The other question was if we are an agency. Ours is a platform like Uber, you know. So we are not, we are actually a service provider. We are not an agency. Even an agent can actually use our platform to still use it for their daily operations. We do not necessarily collect the money. We just channel it to the right destination, but leave a trail for future reference, should you need to. And of course, we report everything that comes through the system. So it's giving you the visibility, the transparency, and giving everyone. And I mean, everyone is from a landlord to the agent to the property manager to also a service provider to a vendor. It connects all these 5, 6 people. Even banks have access to the platform. So everyone is seeing what is happening in real time. I mean real time. I don't know if I missed any other question.
No, I think, thank you. Maybe.
Oh yes, the data. Allow me to just call Mr. Data in our business. That is Ronald, to just explain how he does that.
Okay, maybe you can hold on to that. I think I'd like to, maybe you can move to Lynn. I think there's a question in terms of, because of the kind of stories we tell, and you're probably not an expert in that field, how do you interface maybe with other professions just to provide that support?
Okay, so I believe if you are regulars at our platform, then you've seen we've integrated a lot of professional help, which means right now you are seeing a lot of heavy stories are accompanied by a professional therapist, you know, professionals who, even after the stories right now, some of our guests are still seeing, seeking professional help. So I believe if you follow towards the end, there's always a therapist, or we have a lot of pro bono therapists and lawyers where we are able to channel our guests. But then we have to understand one thing. Therapy is an intentional journey. It doesn't work if it's forced. They'll pour their heart out for a day or two, and then if they are not ready for the journey that comes with healing, you are not able to force that. And we always make it clear to our guests that this is you sharing yours. My job is to tell them what the consequences could be. But then because they are not under duress, you cannot tell them don't if their heart wants to. But we always try now to offer that kind of support, that if this is too much, we have Triza, we have these kind of people who are able to walk the journey with you. And I've seen, if you are watching our current follow-ups, then the testimonials are right there, straight from the guest and the kind of help that they got. But it's also a very tough journey, especially forcing therapy or matters mental health on the guest sometimes. Can we pull down a story if it has served its purpose? So let's say LNN is a media company. So I think in my history, as a journalist, I've only been requested to pull down a story once from a guest because she was applying for visa and she felt like some of the things she had said in a previous episode might make her not get the visa and things like that. But I think it's a case-to-case scenario. It depends also on the reasons that someone wants to pull down the story. I think it's something that we have dealt with as an organization. Data protection, it will be answered by my colleagues here.
Yeah,
so
I want to actually pass it on to Balkis. I hope you can address that question on behalf of everybody else, because I think it's a big question and it's a wonderful question she asked. You're processing quite a bit of data. We talked about, was it 500 cars, 2,500 drivers, and probably a whole host of other people who use that particular service. So it's a question of how do you manage that? How do you ensure there's integrity, that there's trust, and that you're utilizing the data in the appropriate way?
Okay,
yeah. I hope not putting you into...
Yes, that's the big question coming to me, but I'm glad to take it.
Thank you.
Okay, so for data protection, well, there are regulations that already monitor how we use data. So, for example, the GDPR that we have to comply with. So, in terms of compliance, you have to comply with any, the regulatory compliance that are in place. And then now when it comes down to how do you use the data and the stakeholders who are giving you the data. So, for example, for us, the drivers, the vehicle owners, in the case of probably Bramwell, the landlords and those who are integrating their services onto the platform. So you need to have your processes right to ensure that how you're capturing data, are there stakeholders signing up, consenting to having their data taken up by you? Do they understand how you're going to use their data? So having all this in place is very important. And then now internally, how are you handling that data? Do you have proper systems to ensure that data is only accessed by the relevant people who should be accessing that data? So that it's not just your data is accessible to to everyone in the company, including those who don't need to use that. Is it accessible to third parties? So when you have, API integrations with other users who probably need to integrate to your platform, or you need to integrate their platform, how are you protecting the data that you're holding from third parties who are coming on board? And do you have contracts that are governing those relationships so that you're protecting the data that, as you have told your users, you're going to use their data in a particular way and that you're protecting their data. So it all comes down to what structures do you have around your data processing internally and also with third parties and the regulators as well.
Thank you so much, really. And to the panel, it was quite an honor, and thank you for sharing your personal stories, sharing about your organization, and sharing about the opportunity you see, because I believe you represent many other thousands of Africans out there who are looking into technology and seeing the opportunity that is going to come out of it. The jobs, you're talking about, we need millions of jobs in our continent, and this is part of what can really enable and harness that. And even for a lot of the people who are the younger ones for us, many of us have younger kids who are 10 years old, 2 years old, 15 years old. This is the future they are going into, and this is how they perceive opportunity. So it's really for us to ensure that as we go out there in whatever work we do, regulations, we're in academia, we are the private sector, how are we enabling such innovators to exist and thrive. So thank you so much for sharing with us. It was a pleasure and honor. So I think we can step off the stage together and hand it over to the MC. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.